We are live here at Quantum Heart Talks. I am so thrilled, honored, and humbled to have our next special guest, Richard Morden. Richard is a transformational and emotional success coach, and he is an accredited and also certified EFT practitioner. What is EFT, you ask? Well, that's called emotional freedom technique. And we're going to dive into that with Richard because, as you all know, I am Tony Taylor. I am your host of Quantum Heart Talks. And of course, you know, I love this kind of stuff because when I started my wellness journey, a lot of it had to do with what some of our other guests had talked about, which was gratefulness and mindset, and forgiveness and surrender. But we haven't really jumped into what I also did, which was EFT, emotional freedom technique. And so I'm super excited to have Richard here so he can show us and explain to us who he is, what he does, how he got here, and how he started to discover EFT, and perhaps he could explain a little bit about that. So thank you, Richard. Thank you for being part of this amazing talk and sharing with our community what you do. And we've just guide us, show us, tell us everything you know. You've got 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, go. No.
It's like a multiple choice, but there's really no choices at all. EFT actually, so my journey is something I found EFT early 2013, a few months, actually serendipity, how life events unfold for you. So sorry about the light here, but I'm not this bright usually.
Well, you're actually, it's almost like, the heavens are just opening up going,
oh. Okay, we'll go with that. So. But life events unfolded for me. I said later on, so I discovered EFT online at Nick and Jessica Ortner webinar, just watching and thought, oh, this is interesting, because I was always into learning. A lot of self-discovery during those, I think 2006, somebody gave me the movie The Secret, and all I got from that was you create your life by the way you think, and I thought, what does that mean? I had no idea. So because I just thought life was just kind of manure pile, and you just kind of waited your way through it. And I grew up on a farm, so it was natural for me to have that process.
Well, makes sense. I mean, there's your connection. This is what we talk about, is how everybody's life, their journey, creates different images and sensations, right? So why wouldn't you, compare it to a manure pile? Because that's what you were always exposed to. Just keep piling it up, and hopefully at some point, you'll be able to disperse it some way, somehow.
Just wade through it, So. But that self-discovery was key for me, and I was really, when it was a lonely journey, because what did you think? No, they never mentioned the word intention, or thought process. So a lot of that of self-discovery and personal work like that. 2013, I saw a webinar with tapping. I thought I liked it, and life events. I lost my wife in June of 2013. So that had her life. She was on had a brain aneurysm. So with the family, we had her life support.
So sorry, I didn't know that.
Well, I've got more stories with that. So.
Oh my! It's no wonder, that you went on this journey. This is usually what happens, isn't it? When there's a tragedy or a trauma that is directly impacting us emotionally, that's usually when we step back and have these insightful moments of looking at things just a little bit differently. So I can imagine that moment in your life just absolutely was heart-wrenching, and that would definitely set you on a new course. So this is fascinating. So once again, like what they say in The Secret, it's usually it's not usually often that people do this gradual awakening. It's usually some kind of tragedy or trauma, right?
It's a push.
Yeah. It's like, oh, there you go. And it's usually not a good one.
No. In the sense of, I love the learning aspect. Again, it was a lonely journey, and we can obviously accelerate that. But losing my wife, like I said, it was just 2 days before my daughter finished high school, so things were pretty, but we got through that. And I knew I needed to be present with my children. I've already been aware of other people who have lost people, and oftentimes the grief we contract. We pull our families in. We live this small life because we don't want to be hurt again. And I'll expand on a little bit more on that. But what happens when we try and step out into the world, and happens with many, I see with many women, they pulled in, they got their family safe, they lost a partner. When they try to move on later in life, they can't do it. because there's resistance, and oftentimes their children are their biggest resistance because, mom, you can't go out and buy that song. A lot of time, even adult children hold their parent back.
Well, what
So
a great, what a wonderful thing that, through this pain, you've been able to see the bigger picture. And now, once again, shining a light. See, now I got bumps. See, I got bumps now. That's always my truth when I get all the little goosies everywhere. For you to be able to take that pain and turn it around so that there is a light for somebody else who is going through that same experience. So thank you for doing that. That's a wonderful, again, everybody, this is why we're having these quantum heart talks, because I want to show you and share with you these amazing humanitarians who have gone through the pain and have found, protocols and processes that have just taken them to another level and helps everybody around them. So thank you, Richard. Thank you for being open, for sharing that. And please continue.
But in that process, I was just, again, after my wife passed, I was doing a little bit of tapping online, and it helped. Okay. And that's all I knew, but I wanted to dig deeper. I thought there's got to be more of this. And part of it is I wanted to be present. I mean, suddenly I was a single father. My kids were a bit older, 18, 17. My son was just going off to college. My daughter was heading off to university. But I wanted to be present with them. I'd seen already people in that grief stage, and I had a lot of grief in my life previously. I mean, in all truth, I have buried 11 people in my life. Siblings, spouse, mother-in-law, other family members. So I've been sometimes by their side as they passed, or on the phone. So this is all my siblings are gone. One remaining with Alzheimer's. So we don't have good longevity and sense of functionality in our lives that way, health-wise and other things. But I wanted to be present with my children. I wanted to be home. I was working, for a good job, and I was 5 and 6 days a week. But I wanted to be there emotionally for them. So this really helped me to kind of be balanced and not go into the anger or loss of all the other things. So I discovered, watching EFT, I looked and I found a course, a 3-day course, which is the introductory to the astrologies, in October. And I thought, okay, this would be good to help me process this grief. I took the course 3 days, and and I thought I'd be dealing with my loss of my wife at the time. She wasn't even on the radar. I had trauma show up in my life I had no idea even existed.
Isn't that something when you start this EFT journey? Because I was just kind of dealing with the present moment, thinking that, I needed to get into alignment for what I was dealing with, like right here.
Yeah.
But it turns out it goes so much deeper. Could you go a little bit more into that? Yes, I totally know where you're coming from, because I've done it.
Yeah. In a sense, I had in a sense, I was so raw from my loss. And I had a trauma show up with my father that I had no idea. And it came out to me like a volcano. Like twice in that weekend, I had major traumatic releases that were just like, I was sweating, I was crying. I mean, it was like somebody was pulling hot lava out of my body, the grief thing. So, and then in there was my brother's suicide as well. And I was the last person he called. I was the one who identified him. And then I took care of the funeral, things like that. And my father was older, so I arranged everything, family come back, blah, blah, blah. So, there's good ends to all that, because I'm connected to my niece now here in BC, as we came here. So we're she's a lovely lady, and it's great to have that family connection. And 2 nieces here in BC I've got connected with and both have lost their parents, which were my siblings. So, but those releases helped me. They said you must do your own work. And that was the biggest thing we were discovering, was do your own personal work. So I trying to find some of my colleagues at the time, and nobody wanted to do anything. I took the course again in 2014. The wonderful lady who I've mentioned many times, Nancy Forrester, who's a master trainer and is building a beautiful EFT community. So the biggest thing she presented was do your own work. And I took 10 months, spent 10 months in her Harness Your Power program. And I was adamant about doing my own personal work, because there was so much crap in there. Like we had some crazy stuff happening.
Is there ever
buried
macaroni, decades and decades and decades. And that's what we talk about.
Yeah.
Everything is energy and everything is connected. We're so used to just seeing what's right in front of us that we forget that everything that we've experienced has now been either buried or forgotten, mainly forgotten, and has gone into these really deep places that we had no idea that were affecting every next move or decision in our life. And I had very much the similar experience. Like when I started doing the tapping and the forgiveness work all at the same time, it was just like the tears where I'm thinking, where the heck is this coming from? Like I hadn't figured it out. My body was releasing, but I still didn't know the why. And actually, it really didn't matter. But as you keep going, it starts to reveal itself. So this is, Wayne Dyer said, Dr. Dyer says the same thing, as soon as your inner world changes, the things the way you see things start to change as well. Because when this changes internally, the external starts to change. And that's where we get into that whole energy thing. So the emotional energy is so deep. And your life story is incredible. The amount of pain and loss, which is so comforting for people because you're coming from a place of true compassion and empathy and understanding because you've been there. I'm one of those girls or one of those people that is kind of like, have you really experienced what I've experienced? I don't know, And so, but that's just my personality. I love getting my direction or perspective from people who have been there, done that. And it sounds like you were on one heck of a journey. So thank you so much for your courage. Wow, to keep going and keep peeling the layers away and away. That takes a tremendous amount of discipline. And like my grandmother said, discipline's not a dirty word. No. So thank you so much for sharing that, because this is I am so honored that you are on today, because this is a major journey, or I should say a path. This is a type of path or protocol process modality that is incredibly revealing, but it's also so healing if people will take the time to do it. And you sound like an excellent person to guide us on this. So I am so excited that you're part of our quantum energy limbic arc family, because I know that this is really a modality that is bringing you to see how everything gets married. So could you touch upon that a little bit, how you felt about being introduced to limbic arc and this new quantum wellness energy tool that people are just kind of going, what in the world is that?
No, I've always believed, I guess, in quantum field, but not without any. I mean, a high school education, so I understood where thoughts come from. Because my point of being, when we are layered with all kinds of things growing up. 07, we're on record, and we're layered with all this stuff. But underneath all of that, the very point of, in my point of view only, is one word. It's called love. We layer with all kinds of crap in our life. With you're not this, and this, and what I
that sounds like the manure pile.
Call the other voice commands. We often the other voice commands that are primary in our life. It's called Wernicke's commands. What it is in true term, you can look it up. Wernicke's is a brain point. But when I heard quantum and I heard this, somebody messaged me and I looked at it and I just got it right away. I thought, boy, they can send you nutritional information through the quantum fields by connecting to your BIOS. I didn't have to understand the technology. I believed it was possible.
Wow. So yeah, because you've got that background. What do you say to people who don't understand it?
It's not about understanding. We spend so much time. My work isn't, when I'm teaching people emotion, we want to understand it. And people get locked in their head thinking they have to understand. And you know what? The dumbest part of your body is your brain. I'll say, be honest, the dumb people have the difference between the difference between people's brains and their butts. One of them gets washed more often, right? Because it gets cleaned. The brain, we carry along all our crap, all our beliefs, and we want to go in and, I got to think it out. What does society tell you? Stay in your left brain, and it's the biggest lie we've ever been told. You got to analyze.
That is brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant. I thank you for saying that. Oh my gosh, that is. I think we need to get that on T-shirts.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my brain isn't that smart after all, because we become. The body has the major. It's unconscious. The body is a holder of your emotions. It's the storage of. It's the storage of your stories. All that energy is in your fields, your memories. Those hidden traumas are there, and over time it becomes like this congested system of dysfunctionality, right? So when I heard this, like I said, limbic arc through the field, I thought, I just accepted it. I just said this works, and I'd like to say I had magic with it off the bat. I'm one of these guys. I've had energy healers work on me, and where everybody's passing out, and I'm sitting there like this, like I'm okay because it just doesn't. It's time with me. Whether I'm thick or dense, I have no idea. No, like I said, I've never had anybody knock me out energetically, and other people have passed out around me. So I just believed it'd work, and in the long run, it has helped me. In a sense of
Mhm.
how it's progressing through my health system, how it's my systems are cleaner now. But we had started this a few years ago with my girlfriend and I with a keto diet. You know,
Oh,
I saw bunions and calluses on my feet clear up. And we think that's normal, but that's part of the crappy foods we eat.
well,
You know?
that this is the whole thing, isn't it? I mean, our society, our modern society, our
Yeah.
modern world has been so contaminated
Mhm.
on every level.
Yeah.
And we don't even realize, because it's been covered up so much, how much contamination there's been going on. The amount of biohacking at the cellular level, both from air quality, water, food, vaccinations, heavy metals, poisons, I mean, molds, radiation. I mean, the amount of bombardment this physiology is been intaking. It's no wonder our quality of our life and this physiology is getting worse and worse, and we have all these crazy ass labels and umbrellas for stuff that, I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, we never even heard of those things. And it's not because technology is advanced. Yeah, technology is advanced, in many ways great, but then in other ways very harmful. And it's really unfortunate that more people have been, I'm happy that people are very trusting,
Mhm.
but at the same time, it's great to trust, but you need to verify. Everybody needs to step into their power and verify and question. The only difference between intelligence and ignorance is you stopped asking questions and you stopped getting curious. So, with this beautiful journey of yours, going on this, looking for new modalities and processes, you could see that, okay, great. So I'm taking care of the emotional. Now we're looking at the diet, which was the keto. That was your choice for the physiology. You knew about the thoughts, that they were energy and they're starting to create things. And then there's this whole spiritual connection. It's like I always said, it's a package deal. And each pillar, each corner needs to be looked at. There's no more, it's all separate. It is a package deal. It's all together. So how cool is that? That we're witnessing all these things that kind of make you go, People don't realize that everything that we do, belief, thoughts, food, water, it biohacks this physiology. And so another great experience for you to share with people. My gosh, you are a wealth of information.
Wealth is something that come out the farm. Remember?
That's awesome. So even through that manure pile,
Yeah.
you start spreading it out, right? It's full circle, right? It's the circle of life.
Well,
So
it's like underneath that pile of manure, there's got to be a horse in there somewhere. Somebody created that, right? So
or just like the diamond, when it just starts getting pressurized, at some point, something starts to shine. That is so cool. So tell me, so like for you, you're like me. When I was on Limbic Arc, I immediately felt, as soon as I did my spark, which, by the way, for those of you who don't know, your spark is your fingerprint to the universe. That's kind of your bridge connection to your innate intelligence, your subconscious, to this conscious world that Richard was talking about, that we've lost that connection. And until we start getting quiet and going inside, we're not feeling using this. Like you said, we're using this too much. And we're making decisions that don't necessarily are for our highest good, because we've lost listening to this. We all still have it. It was never not there. It just got buried,
yeah.
As you say, in the manure pile.
Well, you said a key thing. We've been out there. We've never come home. It's for most people. My work with people too is coming home to your body. We've been out there fighting all these battles, so-called, and all this data that's being presented to us, all this distraction. and to come home to your own body. For one, because so distorted, we never feel safe, but we feel safe, and going inner is the key point. We don't need to meditate out there. We need to meditate in, because that's our congruency. My work with people, teaching people to say no more often, because you start to honor yourself and become congruent. That's where your intuition comes from. You start to say, "Who feels good for us?" And we start to honor ourselves. We start to listen to ourselves, and this is what limbic is. We start to open up these channels and listening to our body, and your body has the ultimate knowledge of what's good for you and what's not good for you.
It's so true, isn't it? Because even people who don't believe in intuition, they still have this sense, because you hear people say it all the time. Oh, I should have known better. Well, why'd you say that? I just felt it in my gut. Hello. That would be your truth. And it's not because you were hungry. Right? It was actually your connection trying to say, wake up, wake up, wake up. There's, stop, get away from this, get in, like really get in deep. And this is what's so beautiful about it, is that we don't have to think what our body actually needs through limbic arc, because that spark is your connection that goes in there and says, this is what you need. You don't have to think anymore. Let me do it for you. Stop guessing and let me guide you. And I was just kind of like, I'm all over that. I'm tired of guessing. Right?
Oh, we have three brains.
Sandra talked about that. Sandra talked about that, the three brains.
We have our head brain, we have our heart brain, we have our gut brain. I've been done some training with body talk in the just the access technician part. But when we do the different tapping, your brain scans, we tap, the heart remembers, and the gut integrates. Your belly button has 72,000 nerve endings. So it's huge in sense of you think you're safe.
Wow! Does it really?
Yes, huge.
I didn't know that.
So absolutely, like to say, they talk about one of the body talk principles is for people's immune system is doing the tapping. Your saliva on your tongue and your belly button totally activates your immune system. So
okay, this is way cool. Yeah. So during our 30-day challenge, for those of you who get a new subscription for our 30-day challenge, remember, it's only 30 days, okay? It's just, there's no long-term commitment. If you think that this is, too far out there, so be it. If you're really finding great value and enjoying your experience in our 30-day challenge with all our amazing experts, who, by the way, I think Richard's going to offer us an EFT session during the challenge. Yes? No?
Yeah. I like to do stuff on phobias, because you talk with data. I did a little talk on fears, and I thought, look up phobias, because phobias are a thing. And I thought, I started scrolling through, I found this page. I copied to a Word document, 22 pages of phobias. I couldn't spell any of them. I looked at it,
You've got to be kidding me.
22 pages of somebody spent identifying phobias. You know what those are? Those are conclusions we identify with, and that's a talk with inner. We identify with, not faulting people, but here's all these things. These are my limitations in life. No, they're just an experience. They're just part of your system. We can change those.
That is so. I can't. Okay, so that just goes.
I know I went another direction. Trust me. It's hard for me to show
you. Who knows what's buried in there? Yeah. Right. And this is why, again, I love having all of you on here, because you are all such a wealth of information. Because when I was in the golf industry, and not to digress a little bit, but it's on the same kind of topic line, I used to say to people, people would come to me and they think that I was this guru, which I was an expert in my field. Because why? Because I spent all these years exploring and meeting so many different people who had given me all these golden nuggets. And this is what I was trying to explain to people. As soon as you figure out what works for you, you too can go, I used to use a little bit of a naughty word. I said, you too can go out there and screw up everybody else. Because what works for one doesn't necessarily work for somebody else. Hence why I'm introducing all of you amazing souls and humanitarians, because all these different modalities are all connected. And so with all of your great experiences and wisdom, you are offering some incredible insights, but you are the grounding force and you hold the space for somebody who can't hold the space for themselves. And this is why it's so important to find somebody that you can work with. Everybody, this is so important. Look, I'm a professional coach. I've been a professional coach for 30 years. Even I have a coach. Okay.
Yep.
Everybody needs somebody else. Okay. And to find the person that you can connect with is so valuable. It really does up level you to a whole nother. It's so quick. I'm not saying you can't do it by yourself. That's not what I'm saying. But if you feel drawn to our wonderful guest here today, please reach out. And Richard, how can they reach out to you? Where's the best place to reach out to you?
I have a Facebook page, Richard Morden Life Transformation Coach. You'll see my information on there as well. My emails are Morden, MORDEN, at gmail.com. Phone is 705-220-0795. As you say this, Tony, we are creating a morphic field for this healing.
Yes.
This community is huge because people say, like, people were so isolated. People don't realize there's community there for us to connect to help us grow. But also when you hear others' testimonials and how people have come through, that affects us as well.
Oh, yeah.
Totally.
We talk about that whole, everybody has an energy field.
Yes.
And what is in your energy field? Is it love or is it fear? And this is why the other reason why I talk about why it's so important to surround yourself with the people that, support you and uplift you and guide you more so than these people that just suck the life out. I call them energy vampires.
Yeah.
Like energy parasites. They're just like, here, come on, take the blood. There you go. It's like, it's kind of like going, here, come on, here you go. There you go.
And often they're the people closest to you.
Right. So another reason why you talk about going in. So you had mentioned something which was really beautiful, and I appreciate you saying this. You had said that limbic arc doesn't do it. Say what I'll let you say it. You had
a lot of devices out there do stuff to you, and not that they're wrong. It's some beautiful, awesome technology.
Absolutely.
Totally. But I really feel limbic arc does something for you at the 0 point level. It's helping you in your innate intelligence receive information and nutritional aspects of life that you couldn't touch, you couldn't understand, because we don't know 1% of our reality.
No.
We'd go insane. So this is coming into underneath all that to benefit you. I mean, so many ways it shows up in people's experience and their well-being inside. Over time there's peace. I always say, when I work with people that haven't started, like, write down where they are, because we forget where we started our journey. We think, because there's another layer. Yeah, but when we look back at where we were, and especially if somebody wants to start this, what are my pain points? What's going on? And not only that, emotionally, physically, or you said the 4 quadrants, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And if somebody did that and started looking at their journey and thought, I don't have that anymore. We forget where we were so fast. I've had people, many of them, forget they had phobias. Happens to every coach. Really? Absolutely. Happens to every coach. They'll sit there and, how was that? And I never had that. Yes, you did. You used to have conflicts. This resistance show, and one I want to think is, when we have everything that shows up is always a symptom of another cause.
Yeah, you're right.
We say, well, that only
there's that manure pile again.
Yeah, it only affects me here. No, that's only where you see it. It's affecting you everywhere in your life.
Yes.
It's everywhere.
It's funny you should say that, because I've gotten a lot of feedback from people, like, let's go to the partnership, like the husband and wife couple, let's just say. Yeah. And one partner is just so excited about trying limbic arc, and then the other partner isn't, but they support them and say, well, if you want to do it, no problem. And finally they're seeing a transformation in their partner, and they finally say, okay, fine, I'll do it, right? And then they do it. They go, you see, there's nothing going on. I can't feel anything, right? And then, of course, that partner who's been using it is kind of going, I don't really want to say anything, but their energy really has changed, even though they don't really notice it. I'm noticing it, right? Because it's that sphere of influence. So I love the way you describe that. We really should write down where we started, because those subtleties, we don't notice subtleties because we're so numb as a society. We're so numb that we can't always see those subtleties. But the people in our environment, they see it. They see it. Yes, they do.
Well, and this is a journey. It's not a one-time aspect of life. People like when we start to grow our business, every layer of our business is another emotional layer, another breakthrough for us, another awareness that we come to, and it's and all the resistance we had, all the unhidden loyalties, the obligations we in life, the family patterns. I say we're on 0 7, we're on record. That's the foundation of our life pattern,
Yeah.
and from there we're on replay. So what do we want to change in that replay? Cause, effect. When I first heard that, I thought I didn't understand that for a long time. What do you mean cause? Every thought, every quantum particle in me is causing, creating my effect is my reality, and I'm no different than anybody here.
Well, it's
So,
interesting you should say that, because that was a huge aha moment for me. When you're talking that, we're so trained, programmed, whatever you want to call it, to be in cause and effect, or cause and an effect. Those are very different. So in order to cause an effect, you need to get out there and be proactive and stop being so reactive. And that's what you're referring to. And this is what limbic arc is doing. It's for you, which is now causing an effect instead of being it's mind blowing how all the dots are starting to connect. And thank you, Richard, today for your time. You are a wealth of wisdom. I am so excited to share you with everybody in this community. I could talk to you all day.
well, one more tip I want to add, because we talked about the effect of our behaviors. We have a value systems that for a value belief that I'm good enough or not good enough. Every value has, I think, up to 120 beliefs, and every belief has up to 80 behaviors. We're out
Wow.
there trying to work on behaviors, and yet it's the belief that's driven by the value. It's really what's going on.
Welcome to the Mojo Girl.
Yeah.
What does she talk about? Mojo Girl says, get to the belief.
Yeah.
Stop the belief. Yank that sucker out, right? Then let's see what's left over. Chances are there's really not that much once you flip that nasty belief that is not serving you. So thank you so much for that, because I talk about that all the time. Why do you want to keep going to the external stuff? Because the external stuff was created by something far deeper. See, it's all so connected. I love this. Thank you so much for sharing that. But you're sharing also, and I want everybody else to know this as well. You're also going to be sharing with some other groups too, aren't you? With your
I have a women's group I'm speaking with on October 30th in Toronto. Women status in food industry management. So I have an opportunity to share my coaching there as for EFT, but also like limbic arc as part of this, because it's a everybody's got not a like physical challenge, health challenges. So it's all part of this healing process. If they're accepting to it, they're there. First of all, I'll be able to have what I can do with them, not with them, guide them through. I have to be careful, because I don't fix people. I guide people. I empower people. I'm not here to fix you. I don't fix anything. I want you to be empowered for you, so you understand how powerful you are.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that, because that's so true. It's all about guiding the person, and we're your support system. If you don't have a support system out there, then we're your support system. And, these are the things that we have to start to understand. It is so incredibly important to have that type of system where people are uplifting you and raising the mojo vibe instead of sucking it all out of you. Right. And this is how we shift the world, because when we link hands and link hearts, this is how change happens for the better. Instead of the direction we've been going. So thank you so much for joining me today, Richard. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. Thank you for sharing your insights. Thank you for sharing your heart. And thank you for being part of our 30-day challenge here and in our Quantum Influencers group. And I'm hoping that more people will reach out. If you know Richard and you want to reach out for him as a coach, or you want to try to limbic arc, just reach out, because we're ready to go. We're getting very close. And who doesn't want all those bonuses with all our experts leading us through our Spark and our info booth? So this is exciting. So thank you again, Richard. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. And if you're coming back to watch the replay, thank you, thank you, thank you. And we will see you all tomorrow. tomorrow. Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Bye.
you.